Hunter is not off the hook. The first son's sweetheart plea deal getting blown up in a dramatic legal twist. Hunter Biden showing up in a federal courthouse in Delaware and pleading not guilty to gun and tax charges. The shocking development happened after the judge started asking just some basic questions on the terms of the original plea agreement, like what was and was not part of the deal. The judge was very concerned on whether Hunter could get blanket immunity from future prosecutions, and at one point said that she is not going to be a rubber stamp. The prosecutors also admitting that there's still an ongoing investigation surrounding Hunter Biden and potential violations of foreign lobbying law. The White House, well, you can imagine, not too keen to talk about any of this.
Hunter Biden is a private citizen, and this was a personal matter for him. As we have said, the president, the first lady, they love their son, and they support him as he continues to rebuild his life.
When he was a senator, crafted gun legislation. As president, he talks often about the need to get illegal firearms off of our streets. So when someone possesses one illegally, what does the president believe should happen to them?
I'm going to be very careful because I see where this question is going, and I'm just going to refer you, as this has been an independent investigation. It's overseen by the Department of Justice. I'm going to let them speak to this as they are moving forward.
Judge, there's probably a good reason that the Justice Department did not release the plea agreement for all of us to see, because when the judge started just asking some basic questions, it was pretty clear that it was outrageous. I mean, they should be embarrassed.
Well, the deal was laughable, and the Department of Justice today is not in a good place. What normally happens in a plea deal, and I remember from when I was a judge, I mean, the day you took pleas was a slow day. There was never any drama. Everybody understood the parameters of the plea. The defendant comes in, and the judge has to do an allocution to make sure that the defendant understands the parameters of the plea. And so the judge will be very specific about what did you do, what did you say, what were you thinking. In this case, you know, on a tax case, where did the money come from, who were you working for, and the tax years that he's charged for. But in this particular case, normally you would have, you know, the defense and the prosecution would have hammered this out. I mean, this would have been very clear. I've never had anything like that happen to me ever.
Wow. Never.
I mean, plea deals, they're hammered out because they know if they don't do it, they end up going to trial. So in this case, it was really laughable what happened, because when the judge started the discussion and the intro to the allocution, it was clear that when she said, what is going on with this continuing investigation? And then the defense attorney started talking about immunity. And it appeared that they were thinking about immunity going into the future, not just past immunity, but immunity going into the future, which is something that is just not done unless you're, at the very least, cooperating and bringing in someone like a major drug dealer. So the allocution, as it was supposed to go forward, basically couldn't happen, because once it was on the record, the Department of Justice had to say, it's a continuing investigation, and the judge says, so you might file more crimes, more charges. And they say possibly, and she says, like FARA, foreign agent, like Paul Manafort. And at that point, the attorneys started getting very uncomfortable, because here's the insult, Dana. This was a deal where everyone was in on the con but the judge and the American people.
Right.
It was a con going down. They didn't expect the judge to ask any questions. And they said, you know what, we're going to get this through, and Hunter's going to walk out and he's going to be just fine. And the judge was not interested in what had gone on in terms of, you know, they're saying that, you know, we're going to give him future immunity, because she knew it was continuing investigation. And even if it isn't this Department of Justice, the next Department of Justice, if statute of limitations hasn't passed, can go after him. But she then said to the prosecutors, is there any precedent in the Department of Justice for doing something like this, with both the diversion program with the gun, which she said was unheard of, and I've never heard of it. It's one of the things I've talked about. How can a guy go to plead guilty to a gun charge when he hasn't been charged with a gun charge? And they didn't have any answers to any of this. Now, this started, Dana, last night, right before the plea. There was someone who called to strike testimony of the whistleblowers. It happened on, I believe, on Tuesday or Monday of this week. From the transcript, the judge tracked the phone call. The judge found out that it was traced back to someone connected to Hunter Biden's lawyers. The judge is the one who found that out. So when that judge walked into that courtroom, she had a bad taste in her mouth from the beginning when they tried to strike the testimony of the whistleblowers. And in the end, the DOJ couldn't offer this deal and say with a wink and a nod, it's under investigation. And it was clear why they were doing it, to keep Congress from it.
You're probably going to hear a lot about this judge from the left, I would imagine. Some pretty aggressive scrutiny you imagine is coming. Remember, interestingly, she is the one, she ruled against the laptop repairman in his defamation suit. So I mean, it's not like she has been somebody who is just trying to help the anti-Hunter side, if we can call it that. Greg, do you remember when the Hunter lawyers announced this plea deal? They said, well, we have a plea deal and we consider this matter closed. And then the Justice Department said, well, actually, it still could be open. And then, well, maybe not, but maybe it is. And now we know that it's not closed.
Yeah. By the way, congratulations on winning that medal at the track meet.
Do you know that you say that every time I wear it, which might mean that I wear this way too often?
No, it was like they did try to trick us, and they said, "Oh, this matter is closed," but it was as open as Hunter's robe. He determined, he demanded blanket coverage. Probably the only time he's ever demanded a blanket. But I'm not a lawyer. Although people often mistaken me for one. I always thought that you plead for like the main big crime and then they forego the little ones. But in this case, it seemed like it was the reverse. It was like the little ones he only had to deal, but it was the big stuff he got away with. So I think this is good news, what's happening, because if this was you, would it go better or worse? When your last name is Biden, not only are you afforded exemptions from all kinds of ludicrous behavior, even the mention of going after him was seen as off limits by the press. You can go after Trump, that family, but how dare you go after the Biden family? This guy, he got a motorcade to court. I mean, who are they protecting him from? An angry pimp or the United Federation of Hookers? I mean, seriously, I get he's the son, but come on. This just kind of, I think when you see this, you know that they're being treated differently all the time. So I think that's why this is kind of an interesting twist, because I didn't see this coming, because I've pretty much given up on our justice system.
I worked with this woman named Eileen O'Connor at the Justice Department. She ran the tax division at Justice, and she had this headline in the Wall Street Journal: you'd go to prison for what Hunter Biden did. And maybe today, Jesse, people feel like at least the judge was willing to look at this and not just rubber stamp it.
I was happy when I heard it break. Americans are happy about it. We have not had a win when it came to justice in a very, very long time. They've been indicting Trump on a lot of BS stuff, and now we're finally starting to feel the momentum shift, and that's a good thing. We knew, as the judge said, there was shenanigans last night when they tried to make a phony phone call, an impersonation, a little dirty trick. I'm actually the Republican attorney. Can you strike this from the record? They got caught cold, so the judge is already angry going in. This deal was struck before the IRS whistleblowers came out.
Right.
This deal was struck before the bribe document dropped, the $5 million to the big guy. So the deal probably wasn't even papered. This might have just been a gentleman's agreement. Let's not put it in writing. So a lot's changed since this deal was done, and they get out there, and the minute it was scrutinized one little bit, the whole thing collapses. The Justice Department says, yeah, we might have to keep looking into this guy. And then Hunter's attorney's like, well, then the deal is off. We're not supposed to look into my guy anymore. And they tried to put it back together, and they went to chambers. They could not put this thing back together. Weiss, the Delaware prosecutor, at this point, now with impeachment on the table, does not want to be a part of the cover-up. Remember, you have the crime, and then you have the cover-up. If this goes to an impeachment hearing, they're going to look into obstruction of justice. And if the Delaware prosecutor is in on the obstruction, that's going to be a problem. So he tried to get a little distance from this thing. And the judge is right. The judge comes out with this gun charge. It's a felony gun charge, and it's just expunged for nothing. She's like, this has never happened before, and you're not giving me any discretion. Once you sign this deal, I can't even decide whether I like it or not. It's a done deal. So she said, get this garbage out of here. A lot can happen between now and September 1st when they have to actually come up with a new agreement. You have Devin Archer testifying on Monday. The guy's the inside man. He could sink it. And then you have bank records coming out later in the week with Comer. So this thing is only going to get worse for Hunter Biden, and that means it gets worse for Joe Biden.
Speaking of Joe Biden, just take a listen to him ignoring questions today about that.
Mr. President, McCarthy says he may try an impeachment inquiry to get to the bottom of
How sad.
Do you remember, Harold, the White House at the time that when this plea announcement was made, they said, case closed. We're all done here. And they basically were like, we're not ever having to talk about this again. And that is not what's happening heading into a pretty tough election.
Good to be back around the table.
Oh, yes. Welcome back.
Say a couple of things. First, I think the process worked. For those who may say that our process is broken in the country and we have two standards, this was an example of there not being two standards. Judge is right. When you have a plea deal, the judge is often asking these questions to protect the defendant, because if the defendant is entering a guilty plea, he or she needs to be afforded the right to say that before the court, before the judge. So as these questions, basic questions were asked, what is inexplicable to me is how the agreement between, or the mutual understanding between the prosecution and the defense was not there. The defense believed that he would get immunity for everything going forward, even unrelated to the tax stuff and the gun stuff. Right. I thought there would be immunity for the tax and the gun stuff, but it's hard to believe that they thought there would be immunity going forward unless they had already agreed to that. Two, we learned from this there's an investigation, a continued investigation underway into Hunter and some of his business dealings. And three, I go back to at the start because I am relieved that the process worked. I'm relieved that the judge asked these questions. And I'm relieved that Americans, everyday Americans, are starting to understand how our process works. We shouldn't have cameras. I saw someone maybe on our network lawyers saying, which there were cameras and audio in the courtroom. I don't. But I do. I am relieved and frankly gratified that the court asked these questions. And inexplicable to me is how the prosecution and defense were not on the same page going in. And we'll have to see where this goes.
They were, but they couldn't admit it.
Well, Judge, that's commentary.
That was, I think, what was so, like, are you not embarrassed?
Well, but guys, that's comment. What is clear is we don't know the answer to that, but we know this. The judge asked the right questions today, and it seems like the right outcome was what happened.
Well, there was no precedent, okay? This was out of the ordinary.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.